Thanks for watching Talking Law TV. We feature the area's leading local attorneys, recent court rulings, and laws that can affect your daily lives. That's why we say legal news you can use. Coming soon, Talking Law TV's producers will be bringing another news magazine program to WSAV. For Your Health TV, a news magazine show featuring the Coastal Empire's leading health and wellness professionals. For more info about the show, visit the website at foryourhealthtv.com. And thanks for watching.
Have a legal issue? Visit TalkingLawTV.com and leave your question. It may be used on the show.
And we're back with more Talking Law TV. I'm Michael Short, and in the second segment we have Doug Andrews. Hi, Doug. Serious injuries resulting from DUI and possibly even death.
I thought you were going to ask me how was I was going to say serious.
Serious. But this is a serious topic.
That's true, that's true.
And I assume that the serious injuries or death can result in either the person who may have been struck or passengers.
That's right.
And then,
serious for at least two people.
And then lastly, the drunk person as well.
That's right.
We have some images here to give some weight to our story.
That ruined somebody's night out.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty bad when you can't even tell what kind of car it was.
And I guess that's the car inside a car?
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
And then we have another one here, which telephone pole one, car not any.
That proves the physics that one item cannot occupy, or two items can't occupy one space.
And then we have another one here.
Unless you wrap it around the pole. Oh, Lord. And you know, that reminds me, never carry something in the back of your car that when coming forward will stab you in the back of the head, like fencing or lamps or anything else, because you stop suddenly, it's not belted in.
And then our last one is the deceased.
And the injured over there. On the there's a hand of the deceased, and then there's somebody being worked on back there, and then they're ready to put them on the gurney.
So let me get rid of those now.
Oh my.
We know that DUI is serious by itself, but how much worse is it if someone is seriously injured or killed during the accident?
Well, the simple answer is, with a DUI first offense, get a little jail. If you're drinking and you either hurt somebody seriously or kill somebody, you're going to get a lot of jail, prison. So it gets serious very quickly because there's only one bad turn or one improper traffic movement to distinguish between the DUI driver and the DUI driver who's facing serious time for hurting or killing somebody.
When does it turn into manslaughter?
Well, we don't really prosecute for manslaughter as such as vehicle homicide if it's through alcohol, vehicle homicide. And that's, you know, maximum 15 years. Some people say, well, that's not enough. Well, it is a crime that doesn't require any intent. It was just poor judgment to drive after that alcohol, and an accident happened. So, yeah, perhaps punishment by prison is necessary for rehabilitation. It's not always, but judge may feel it's necessary for retribution to appease the needs of society.
And that could happen on a first offense?
Absolutely.
If the case is proven, the driver's convicted, what's the most typical of the sentence for, let's say, a serious injury?
Well, and serious injury is a little bit different because you can have serious injury not just by DUI, but also reckless or racing, those serious moving violations. If you cause injury, it may also be elevated to a felony, either reckless driving or racing, as well as DUI. And the way we define serious injury, it doesn't have to be serious. By definition, if you have the loss of use of a member of your body, so if your little ankle is sprained and you're on crutches, our prosecutor will say, you lost the use of that leg for a while. Well, I'll be all better in a month. Well, it's still a serious injury. It's going to be elevated to a felony. So that's the low end of the scale. Disfigurement, permanent maiming, causing somebody to lose an eye or a leg, that's a serious stuff. And with those injuries, you're going to do some jail time in most cases, prison time in most cases.
Are you going to be able to get bail with an injury?
Sometimes, if it's a high media exposure case, you're probably not going to get bail in today's climate. Although our judges should not be worried about what the media thinks or what people think. The judge's sworn duty is to put those thoughts aside and do what the judge feels right. However, they all stand for election, and naturally human nature may give them a moment's thought about the consequences of public criticism. They should bypass that and do what's right, but reality is reality. You may not get bail.
Okay, and what about death? If someone's killed, are you going to get bail?
Not in most cases. Not in most cases. If, and again, there's a difference between whether it's being treated as a felony because of alcohol or racing or reckless driving or aggressive driving. If you cause a serious injury or death with that, you may not get bail. You might be entitled to it as a matter of law because you're not a flight risk and you're not at risk of committing a new offense like if somebody had 3 or 4 prior DUIs. But the reality is they may deny bail initially and let you get it resolved later by a Superior Court judge after indictment. So every case is different, and if you kill somebody, then you are looking at 15 years probably if it's drunk driving.
What about in the case that we had one recently, and I know this person has flown the country, but where you have an accident, you're DUI, they're put in the hospital, let's say you get bail, and then they pass away in the hospital. Are they going to come back and get you and put you in jail?
Not likely in that scenario. If you've been granted bail, they probably will not just because the injured party died. I wouldn't expect that. Not saying it couldn't happen, but I wouldn't think it would.
But they would recharge you if they passed away from those injuries.
Correct. You would later be indicted instead of for serious injury. You would be indicted most likely for vehicle homicide.
Okay. What about medical expenses for the injured party?
Well, that's a problem. I concluded a case recently where young GI was accused of racing another vehicle on Abercorn. Some say it's a raceway anyway. Remember, we lost one of our great lawyers, Bob Duffy, to some folks doing crazy stuff. But this case was the young GI had his wife beside him in the pickup truck, and there was something like a Camaro beside him. And somebody says that he sped up trying to get around him. Well, is that racing? By definition, it could be. If you're trying to get around somebody just because you want to pass them, the statute is so broad that you could construe that to mean you're racing them to get ahead of them. Not in the classic sense, but he went over the center line, sideswiped another car, and the person's leg was seriously broken. And there were thousands, about $70,000 worth of medical bills.
Okay.
And he wound up pleading to it and agreeing to restitution at $500 a month for about 15 years to pay off his share of the damages.
Could he file bankruptcy then and get out of the whole deal?
Generally speaking, and I would defer to Christy Register on this, but my experience with it is if it's a DUI case, the bankruptcy judge is not going to let you bankrupt that personal injury liability. Not going to happen in bankruptcy if DUI is part of it.
Okay, and what about other kinds of damages? Just besides replacing the cars and the hospital bills, pain and suffering?
Sure, you're liable for all of that. Lost wages, pain and suffering, the vehicle damage itself. Hopefully you have insurance that will cover it.
And in a case like this, the maximums are going to be probably passed.
And everybody needs to carry more than the minimum liability coverages. It's too low for the vehicles we drive today and the harm that can happen. You really need higher limits. Go for it.
Okay, thank you so much, Doug. We'll be back with Cheryl Branch from Safe Shelter right after this. Stay tuned.